Okay, so let's talk about the Epistle to the Hebrews. This isn't just another letter tucked away in the New Testament. No, this thing is one of the most concentrated, high-level, theological arguments you will ever find. And it was written to a community that was, well, on the absolute brink of a major crisis of faith.
And this question right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the entire letter. Just think about it for a second. Imagine you've spent your life in a dark room, and then you finally step out into brilliant sunlight. You're seeing the world in full, vibrant color for the very first time. Now, why on earth would you choose to go back into that dark room just to look at black and white pictures of the world you just saw? It doesn't make sense, right? Well, that is the core conflict the author of Hebrews is tackling head-on.
So who is this letter actually written for? Well, we're talking about a group of first-century Jewish Christians. And you've got to understand, they were feeling this immense pressure. I mean, from their families, from their entire culture, pushing them to give up on this whole Jesus thing and just go back. Go back to the familiar, established religious system they grew up with. You know, the temple, the priests, the sacrifices, the whole shebang.
And let's be really clear here. This was not some abstract ivory tower theological debate. No way. This was a real-life crisis for these people. Sticking with Jesus could literally mean being cut off from your community, from your own family, from your entire social world. So when the author makes his case, it isn't academic. It's urgent, hands-on pastoral care for people whose faith was costing them absolutely everything.
Okay, so here's where the author does something just brilliant. Before he even starts comparing Jesus to the old system, he takes a step back. He first establishes exactly who Jesus is. See, he doesn't begin with what Jesus did. He begins with who Jesus is on a cosmic, universal level. And to do this, he taps right into Israel's own traditions about a divine, co-creating figure called wisdom. And this quote, this right here, is the foundational claim of the whole book. The language is just so precise and so powerful. Think about it. The Son isn't just a reflection of God. He is the radiance of God's own glory. It's not like he's just similar to God. He is the exact imprint, the very character of God's being. It's a massive claim.
The author's word choice here is just so intentional. He uses this incredibly rare Greek word, apogasma. I mean, this word only shows up one other time in the entire Greek Old Testament, and it's in the Wisdom of Solomon. And what does it describe there? It describes divine wisdom, the co-creator with God from the very beginning. You see, this is no accident. The author is forging a direct link. He's shouting from the rooftops, Jesus is that divine wisdom.
So just stop and think about that. In only a few opening lines, look at the resume the author has built for the Son. He's the agent of creation. He's the one holding the universe together with a word. He's the perfect expression of God's own nature, the heir to everything, and he's sitting at the right hand of God as a co-ruler. Wow. The point is, the author establishes the Son's divine identity beyond a shadow of a doubt before he even starts making any comparisons. All right, so the Son's identity is locked in. He's divine. Now the author begins this incredible, systematic case. He basically takes every key figure and every important institution of the Old Covenant, and one by one, he shows how Christ isn't just a little better, but categorically, fundamentally superior. And the logic is so clear. Look at this. Angels, they're servants. But the Son, he's the heir that the angels themselves worship. Moses, an amazing guy, sure, but he was a servant in God's house. The Son is the one who built the house. The Levitical priests, they were temporary, they were sinful, they had to offer sacrifices for themselves, but the Son is a high priest who is eternal and sinless. You see the pattern? The author isn't just saying Jesus is a better version of the old thing, he's saying he's in a completely different category. It's not a comparison of degree, it's a comparison of kind.
And throughout the whole letter, the author uses this really powerful rhetorical tool. It's called an a fortiori argument, which basically means how much more. The logic is super simple but really effective. He's saying, look, if the old temporary system that was delivered by angels, if that had binding consequences, then how much more weight and finality does this new reality have, the one delivered by God's own Son? It's a knockout punch. It's designed to make the conclusion feel absolutely inescapable.
Okay, so we've covered who Jesus is. Now the argument takes a turn and shifts to what he has done. And of course, the absolute central practice of the Old Covenant was sacrifice. So the author's about to draw this massive contrast between that old system and Christ's single, definitive, once-for-all act. Think about the old Levitical system. It was built entirely on repetition. Every single year on the Day of Atonement, the high priest had to go into the Holy of Holies with animal blood. But here's the thing. The very fact that he had to do it again the next year, and the year after that, and on, that was like a built-in confession that it wasn't enough. It was a temporary fix. It could cover sin for a time, but it could never, ever permanently take it away. And then you get this, the stunning contrast. Just one time, Christ entered the true sanctuary, the heavenly one, with his own blood. And he only had to do it once, for all time. This wasn't just a better sacrifice, it was the final one. It permanently accomplished what the old system could only point to, what it could only signify temporarily. It made all those old dead works totally obsolete.
Now, this gets to a really crucial point about a believer's status before God. It's a little nerdy, but it's so important. When the writer of Hebrews says we have been sanctified, the Greek verb tense he uses is super specific. It's called the perfect tense, and it means a completed action in the past that has ongoing, continuing results in the present. What does that mean for us? It means sanctification isn't something believers are trying to achieve. It's a status they already inhabit because of Christ's finished work. You live from a state of holiness, not just constantly striving for it.
Okay, so let's recap. Christ is supreme. His sacrifice is final. Game over, right? Well, not quite. The big so what question is, what does the author want his readers to actually do with all this information? Because this amazing theology isn't just an end in itself. No, it's the foundation for a radical, life-altering call to loyalty.
And when this letter talks about faith, the Greek word is pistis. We need to understand it means something so much richer than just agreeing with a set of facts. It's better translated as believing loyalty. It's the conscious decision to bank your entire life on the reality of God's promise in Jesus, and then to keep doing it, day after day, week after week, especially when it gets really, really hard.
This idea completely reframes that famous Hall of Faith in chapter 11, doesn't it? It's not a museum of moral superheroes. I mean, if you read their stories, a lot of these people had some major flaws. No, their common denominator wasn't perfection. It was perseverance. It was loyalty. They heard God's promise, and through all the ups and downs, they just refused to turn back. They kept putting one foot in front of the other.
You see, in Hebrews, faith is an action verb. It's something you do. By faith, Abraham left. By faith, Rahab risked. By faith, Moses chose. Believing loyalty isn't a passive feeling. It is an active, often costly decision to align your life with God's promised future reality over your own present comfort. And then the author draws another one of these powerful contrasts. Remember the old assembly at Mount Sinai? It was terrifying. There was fire and darkness and a voice so scary that people begged for it to stop. That whole encounter was defined by fear and distance. But now, he says, you've come to a new assembly at Mount Zion, and it's heavenly and joyful. Because of Christ, believers have direct, unhindered access to the very presence of God. The keep out sign is gone.
So in a world where everything for his readers felt shaky, temporary priests, repeating sacrifices, a covenant that was literally being called obsolete, the author gives them this one ultimate anchor, this rock. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He isn't changing. He was the co-creator in the past, he is our enthroned high priest right now, and he will be our eternal priest forever. He is the one single point of absolute stability in a changing universe.
The letter ends with a challenge, and it's a pointed one. The readers were told to go to Jesus outside the camp, to be willing to bear the same reproach and rejection that he did. Now, for them, the camp was pretty obvious. It was the old religious system they were so tempted to go back to. But that leaves a question for us, doesn't it? What comfortable systems, what safe camps in our own lives? Maybe they're social or political or even religious. What might we be called to leave behind in order to truly follow him?